email for that before I sent you, right?
Just want to make sure it's good.
Well, what? Oh yeah, I said yeah. He's actually. Yeah, let's put it.
Yeah, that's even. Yeah. So as soon as he get in there, we'll be, I'll be the frame everything. It's just y'all, right?
Yeah.
Waiting for me? Yeah, I just want to frame everything up. Make sure the light is good, make sure the audio's good. Make sure it's light on everybody's faces. What time we got this? Yeah, I didn't know if it was like 30 minutes. You know?
No, I just said around table was gonna be a couple of hours. But we go to a little bit of a starts. And then you know what we tripping.
Got the phones on vibrate.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Keeping vibrating is loud.
I don't even put my joint on ready. It's all vibrate all the time. Yeah.
Moving a little, yeah, right there. Okay. Perfect. Brief, just yeah. I don't want y'all too tight. Oh, so we live.
Who's that?
That's live. It's your man laptop.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as we
So everybody's popping on here real quick, man. This is Money Ave round table talk. This is what Black excellence looks like, man. And we're excited about it. No matter where you're from, what's your race, ethnicity, what type of money you make, we don't care. We want to be able to showcase exactly what Money Ave is about. Some of the questions that we get asked, all the time. Why are we doing this? What's the purpose of this bank? Why are we reaching out? Why are we spending so much money to educate our community? How do these things fit in place? Is this just a scheme? Is this just something that really just talking, do a deep down dive into exactly how we're bringing this whole thing to fruition, right? So this is the entire leadership team. Well, not the entire leadership. This is a part of the leadership team. And so this is what it's about. We're getting ready to kick off. We're getting framed up here in a second. My man, the cameraman's just off camera here, so we're getting framed up. We're about to get this thing rolling here. If you guys can, let me see. We'll have to probably put a 1 in the chat. Make sure you guys can hear us clearly. If not, we might have to move it a little bit closely. But if you can let us know, and let us know if we can hear us good or not. And let's make sure we get this chat in. So we got about. Okay, cool. We're good. All right.
So my people can hear.
Yeah, they said we can.
So we got our audio right?
everything right, man. We got it all right.
Okay, Will, we got. Don't you owe me something?
Say something.
Dividend checks?
Signals to grab some that.
Say something.
Hey.
Check.
1 2 1 2. 10.
What's up, everybody?
Money at.
Yes. Everybody just project your voice. That's pick body. I'm about to start rolling the audio. All right, audio.
Make sure you guys tag somebody. Let them know to get on here.
What is that? What channel is that?
So we're on YouTube.
Camera rolling.
Right.
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody, man? My name is Tommy Holt Jr., and we are here with the Money Ave team. This is Money Ave Roundtable Talk, where we're getting together with you, the viewer, right? And we're giving you a kind of a behind the scenes. How many times from Bank of America, from Chase, from some of these other large institutions have you gotten a chance to sit in on a roundtable, like the people that are in the leadership positions, the people that make the decisions on where your money goes and how we facilitate that? How many times have they opened up their boardroom so that you can have a in-depth and a behind-the-scenes type of a look? We want to kind of peel back the curtain, remove some of the myth about what's the purpose of this, right? What's the heart and soul of the team and the people that came together and decided that they wanted to take on this monumentous task, right? Just understanding it's easier to actually buy a bank, right, than it is to start one. So why wouldn't we just do that? What's the purpose of the heart and soul of this? So we want to kind of get into this, man, and just have this open, kind of like barbershop like talk, right? Like just real, no bars, just real down to earth on why we're doing this, the soul of it, and what can we do to maybe improve, right? So Don, I'll pass this off to you, man, as the CEO of the bank. Man, just wanted to say, first of all, thanks for being here, spending some time with us. Everybody, thank everybody for spending some time, man. Just kind of go around and just start off with you, just introduce yourself and just kind of let everybody know your background a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm Donahue Baker. I am the CEO of Money Avenue, also co-founder as well. And for the most part, the mission that we're on today is we wanted to document it all. So I'm excited about getting the team together. This is the leadership team. This is the future. This is what we're trying to build. And you guys have a sneak peek into the formation of what I believe is history. So I'm really excited about that.
What was you?
Yeah, so Will Roundtree, president, founder of We Management Services, two-time author of the book Credit is King, and full-time CEO of Shit They Don't Tell You, which my books are primarily a credit manual, and the full-time CEO book talks about entrepreneurship, but the unglamorized side of entrepreneurship, which banking plays a major role in both of those scenarios. TEDx speaker, and just all around, just an advocate for teaching our community about financial literacy, because I feel that it's put us at a disadvantage, and the more we can become educated, it'll help us close that wealth gap by having access to the information so we can go out there and execute on the things we need to execute on to closing that wealth gap. So I'm excited. I appreciate you fellas for inviting me, and
the VP of the credit space. Right?
Nice.
Vinny, what's good, man?
Hey, everybody. This is Vinnie Brown, a.k.a. Vin Rock, from the legendary Grammy Award-winning group Naughty by Nature. They call me Hands-On Harry because I'm always hands-on with the community, just different ventures, and I'm credited for all of the marketing for Naughty by Nature, the apparel, the merchandise, our entire social media and internet ecosystem. So, they credit me as the businessman of the group, and I'm here, man, to bring the knowledge and bring the flavor to our people.
Oh yeah, we got something for you with that crypto, man. If y'all don't know, that's the dude for crypto. Reef.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. So my name is Sharif James. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Alliances for Money Ave. And first and foremost, I'm beyond ecstatic and excited to be here. I ran one of the #1 entertainment event production companies in New Jersey, tri-state area. Built that from scratch, and I've learned a lot in terms of networking relationships and how to cultivate and sustain relationships. And I'm looking to bring a lot of that aspect and that wisdom and knowledge to the table to be able to make sure as you guys join us and as you guys partner with us, that we introduce and we make sure that you are fully looped in and that you're connected and that we giving you the right information when you need it. So I'm here to just continue to add on to what Don and the other founders have put together, man, and we're excited about bringing that literacy to you, that information. And today you really get to see what we're thinking about, how we plan on doing things, and just having an authentic conversation so you guys can be tapped in and, more importantly, to be tied to our culture. So looking forward, stay tuned in, make sure you share it, make sure you have people come in and look behind the curtain on what we're about to do, moneyf.com.
Hey, Tim, my guy, what's going on, man?
So I'm Tim Peters, principal here at Money Ave. I run the business credit division here, as well as our residential mortgage division. And just want to say I'm so excited. We're bringing financial services to an underserved community, and we're going to take off from here to the moon. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, and just happy to be a part of it.
Awesome, man. So let's get this thing off, man. Like, I've always wanted to know, first of all, I think we need to distinguish what actual fintech is. Because I think technology is a space where, if you get into this thing now, like this is a gold mine. This is like the Wild Wild West. If you could actually put something together that works and enhances people's lives, makes things easier, it's a gold mine. So explain to me, not just the tech, but fintech. What does that mean?
Right. So what you're going to be hearing a lot of, especially if you're plugged into financial publications and media, what you'll see is fintech. Most profitable companies in the whole entire world. Half of them are finance, they're banks, and the other half are like technology, like Apple, Alipay, Alibaba, you know, in the whole entire world. So fintech is the combination of those two things. And it's really the future. And for over 100 years, banking has not changed, but technology has allowed us to put resources together to really infiltrate and disrupt the banking industry. And fintech, a lot of the fintech companies such as Cash App, Square, these are new companies that didn't even exist 10 years ago, but they're totally disrupting the space. So it's over $20 trillion of wealth is being created every year in this space. And for our community, particularly minority communities all over the country, there's an opportunity for us to serve those communities and at the same time do something really good in terms of educating the people and also in terms of building wealth. So it's an opportunity to do something good, but also create tremendous value for our communities.
And so we're in those communities, right? Those companies you just mentioned, you know, you got Alibaba, you got Amazon, you got all these companies, right? That the leadership fits a certain mold. But what do you think is stopping us? Like, what's keeping us to get to that top position? Why aren't we taking on that next big tech company? Why aren't we, you know, the CEO of some of those larger companies that we just talked about? But we're the consumer, we're the end. They're thinking about us with the end in mind, right? Because we're the ones that are buying.
Yeah.
So what's stopping us?
I just think it's where we choose to put our energy. You know, we're known for they try to pin us for being entertainers and athletes and in the club and just partying and splashing money around. Well, a lot of that is true. And I think a lot of people don't see this. They don't see us, you know, young Black brothers, educated, professional brothers, and they don't see us organizing and bringing this to the table. So I think this is very important, and it will go a long way because, again, with technology, I mean, this thing will spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
And all you have to do, once we get a hold of something, it could be as simple as Clubhouse, it could be as simple as Instagram. We flip and we make everything really, really hot. So I think it's about time we just change the mindset and put the energy in different places.
So, and that's interesting that you're saying that because you were in it.
Let me piggyback off that.
Okay, go ahead.
Because what he said was, I just want to underline it because ultimately we're really the number one consumer class, right? That $1 trillion. Part of that is we don't have the ownership aspect. So that money comes and just flows through our pockets and it goes somewhere. So everybody that's building wealth or looking to build wealth has banks, right? The banks are at the forefront of that equation. Right. So if you're gonna spend, it would only make sense that what we're building, you know, that money, at least if it's gonna touch a number of different pockets. It's gonna allow more entrepreneurs, more creators, more real estate developers across the board. It's going to allow our community to get funded, have access to capital. That's really, really needed. I think what you said was, you know, hitting the nail right on the head.
And so from like where you were saying about being in the music industry, but the back end, you said you're like the businessman of it, right?
Yes.
So why isn't that pushed? You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't we see that side?
Well, I think you do see it. But for some reason, you know, guys like a Master P or Jay-Z, they get so much backlash for being entrepreneurs and for being so successful. Really? And I think we have to just, again, change that mindset and open up the floor. You know what I'm saying? Open up the floor, have more round tables, and, you know, just be more accessible to the community, be more accessible to other young entrepreneurs. So it doesn't seem like
behind that, because you know what I'm saying, you want to be more accessible, right? You know what you're doing. You're doing business credit. You're also, you know, residential loans, right? So you got that space, but then you get to the people that come to you and they just want to say, hey man, can you hook me up? Can you do this for me? Can you mentor me? Can you do this, right? And it becomes exhausting, right? Like you're only one person, right? Like how do you support and say, okay, I'm here for my community. I want to be able to help the community. I want you, because I was in that space, right? I was in your shoes.
Right.
But I'm only one person. I still got a business to run.
Absolutely.
I got a wife. I got kids. I got to feed. Right. I can't be doing this for free. You know. Right. So where's that line? How do we express that line?
I think once you recognize that you're in a place right now where you have value to bring to the community, you have a perspective, you have resources, you have relationships. You have to step back and just say, okay, I still have to build a business. I have to take care of my family. I have to be able to stick to my goals and what I'm committed to. But there's a whole thousands of individuals that can actually use this information. You have to make that point a conscious decision and put a structure in play to be able to intentionally serve and share as you go, right? So you have to do that. As we know, social media is the best way to leverage that. So you make a couple hours out of the month to say, I'm going to dedicate X. If it's not a business model, let's say you're just a professional. You just say, listen, every X this time a month, I'm going to dedicate some time to give back to my community, to my family. Like right now, I'm doing something for my nieces and nephews. I'm doing, hopefully next quarter, we're doing mandatory Zoom and start talking about entrepreneurship. Okay. And as uncle, I should be sharing more information with them. They all over, it's Texas, different states. There's no excuse now. So why are we not saying, hey, listen, there's a Monday call for all our nieces and nephews. Let's start talking about what your goals are. Let me share some of the things that I'm learning. And for those that's very serious, we're going to kind of get a commitment. I have that obligation, family obligation, social obligation. So just to kind of wrap up the answer, A, gotta just make time for it, number one.
Schedule.
Yeah, you just, right. And then you just build it. And then if it's a business model where you have to actually be paid for it, then you just go in and you just kind of mimic or model other individuals that's doing it successfully and just put an organization to it and a process to it. So this way you can really not only get out to the masses, but you're also gonna be rewarded for your time, which is nothing wrong with, because without I say passion starts you, profit starts you.
Yeah. So, and even just to kind of piggyback off that, I mean, that's exactly what I do. I leverage my YouTube channel. I leverage all my social media platforms to where I'm always doing workshops and, I'll do free events. I'll do a pop-up in the city once per month for free. That way I'm always still paying it forward, the information that that I've learned over the past 17 years. But then, like Sharif said, I'm able to monetize to the public. Now, you still got to go and research and do some of the groundwork to see if you're going to actually execute on that. So I'll meet you halfway, but then once you're ready to take it to the next level, well, then that's where the business model comes in that, we have to be able to sustain so we can travel and go and continue to do these.
That's what you just did yesterday with the credit.
Absolutely.
What's the name of the course that we're putting on?
How to build a perfect credit score.
How to build a perfect credit score.
Say it to them again, let them know. Let them know. I just got to be clear about this. We're going to get there. We got you. We got you. We got you.
Yeah,
but
man.
I was just going to piggyback off of what you said, Reef. That also part of that equation is, I think that coming from where we are, and we're all kind of like kings in our own right? We've achieved a certain level of success, but behind that, there's a lot of people in our community that are looking up to us. And part of the responsibility that we have is finding stars, finding talent, finding what the banking platform is, giving people a pathway, shifting the paradigm and saying, look, you don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be a drug dealer. There's another way to build wealth, right? Not to take anything away from Jay-Z, but the possibility of becoming the next Jay-Z is like one in a billion. You know what I'm saying? But the possibility of becoming a successful entrepreneur is much easier. It's more realistic. So what we have to do is find those people in our community that are making moves, that are doing things. People like Will Roundtree, people like Vin, people like Sharif, people like Tommy, and people like Tim. It's spotting the talent, putting the teams together like this.
It's so hard for us, though.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why we can be something different, because people aren't seeing that, right? What people are seeing is people just saying, they're looking at success and saying, I've done it all by myself. But we can be so much stronger together. That's why I'm constantly trying to reach out to other leaders, other people that, they may not have 50,000, 100,000 followers. They may have 1,000 followers, but they're leaders in their community and they have a message that's valid. So I think there's a responsibility for us, and that's what I want this platform to be, the voice. That's why we do Money. Travel around trying to find that next leader, that person that has that energy. We interview them, and then we kind of like peel back the curtains
Right.
and let people know what's in their brain, what are they thinking, and how you can connect with them. That's really the bottom
So
line.
you're talking about, being able to use your experience and identify leaders to bring up more leaders, but towards entrepreneurship, right? And I'm personally a believer. I probably go against the grain when I say that anybody can be an entrepreneur. And I say that because go back 120 years ago, 90% of America were entrepreneurs. Like you couldn't go to, Walmart or something like that to go buy clothes or get milk. Like you went to the farmer, right? You wanted beef, you went to the slaughterhouse, right? You went to the butcher, right? Everybody was an entrepreneur. So I think bred to work in master's house, right? We've been bred to work on the plantation as these corporate slaves. So what do you guys think about that? How do we break away from that? Like how do we, my mother is very, very adamant about this. Why don't you just go get a job and just work, I'm like, Mom, you don't see, like, I'm already, like, I'm here, right here, right? How do we break away from that?
It's providing information and providing exposure. I spent 20 years in financial services, right? And I went to college, but I didn't go to college for financial services. I kind of stumbled upon it, right? And that had everything to do with me knowing what financial services was. So, once I was exposed to the information, it opened up my world. And I seen that there was another world outside of the world that I was living in. So with that being said, the more that we expose our demographic to information and education, the better we're going to be, and the sooner we're going to close that wealth gap.
What was that thing for you? Because, you went to, how many people were in your graduating class, right?
I don't know.
And probably what, 10% of those people are probably entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
So what separate you? Like, what was that aha moment? What was that
It was a
thing that
desire.
happened?
It was a desire to learn. It was a desire to learn and to expand beyond where I currently was. And the information, like I said, the lack of information is what really drives the wealth gap. But being exposed to, something bigger than what I was currently exposed to, it just took off. And it just opened up my world to explore more. So the more that we can provide education and exposure to our own community, I think we'll be in a much better
Do you think we just don't know what we really want? Meaning that, we're like, she said, I was telling her about some of the goals that I have, for me and the family, and it's like, well, I don't want all that. I don't think you need that. You don't need to go spend a month in Tahiti, right? I don't need to, right? But, there's plenty of people that are doing it, right? I think sometimes we've been tricked to see that if we have a decently amount, year car, or if we have, if we're getting, I think we've been taught about that. Like, so how we expose them to here's this thing that's different for us, right? But then, why are we carrying across the finish line?
Well, I think you got to break the we up. I mean, it's not everybody. There's a portion of individuals that truly are conscious, and they're looking for the Don. They're looking for you. They're looking for Will. They're looking for Ben. They're looking for us. And the reason why is because something has hit. It could be more because the doctor down the street is more. The engineer around the corner is more. And he sees them. He sees or she sees the inspiration. What that does, it opens up the floodgate for you to get curious. We're all here because we've been curious. Something has driven us to find out what's behind that door. How can I make $1 million? Yeah. How can I be free? If it's not a freedom conversation, I'm not even interested.
And
Period.
I think some of that too, and I have this discussion with my team, or even just when I'm speaking to the community, some people can't fathom it.
Right.
I think about it. The average person has never had $1,000 cash in their hand without it having to go to bills, whatever.
Right.
So to say you make $1 million, can't vision that.
Right. They think $1 million is a lot of money.
Right. People think 100,000 is a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I often talk to people, and I ask everybody who wants to be in my sphere, what are your goals? What are your financial goals? Because I want to be around high energy and high level thinking individuals. And so, first of all, I found out that when you ask people what their goals are, some people get offended.
Right. Really?
You'll be surprised. A lot of people get offended when you ask them what their goals are.
Why is that?
Because most people don't have goals.
Also, they're like almost insulted that you even ask a question that I don't know the answer to. Like they try to play.
Or it's a defense
It's a
mechanism.
defense mechanism. So that's the first thing. And the second one is the climax is always 100,000. Think about that. And I'm saying, you want to do that a month? And they look at me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That goes back to what he was saying.
And so
Exposure. Yeah.
I try to break the psychology of how they think and say, look, no, that's attainable.
Yeah,
You just have to think differently. And that's why I talk so much about mindset. When I sit down with my clients or my one-on-one clients, whatever it is that they come to me to want to better or work or grow their business, we don't even talk about that for the first couple of sessions. The first thing I have to do is I have to help you reprogram this first, because you can't even fathom 100,000 a month. How are you going to grow a business to the point where you say you want time freedom? How are you going to grow a business where you say you want to retire your moms, your dad, or whatever it is that you're trying to do financially? So I think a lot of it starts with changing our mindset on how we think about money, how we view money, after taxes and insurance and mortgages.
Absolutely.
Like you check the check.
And that's what's dope about what we have once again, because we can appeal, like together, we can appeal to people on different levels.
Absolutely.
Right. My space being real estate, I'm gung ho on real estate. Your space, you got your space, Ben got his space, but we all are unique individuals, and ultimately, it's our responsibility to meet people where they are, right? So for your question in particular, for me, it's like I can't connect with people that ain't about building generational wealth. It just they're not gonna understand my vocabulary. They're not gonna understand where I'm coming from. It's just not gonna be a connection. But I know that there's that market out there, because a little bit of effort, I can put a video up and I got a couple thousand people that's engaging with that video, doing X, Y, Z. It's people I don't even know. So I know that there's that desire out there for financial literacy. So I've taken it upon myself saying, look, I'm gonna commit to doing these videos, commit to putting this information out. But at the same token, it's still work. Like I could be doing other things. You know what I'm saying? But I can see people reaching out, and I can see the connection that the thirst for the knowledge is there. And we just need to basically come up with a message. Like you might have a message that I can't connect with the same people you can connect with, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that we understand the power that we have sitting here and doing what we're doing. And then when we do it together, it's just like,
Well, I think this entire play is first and foremost an education piece, because the biggest question right now, and it's not just in the minority community, but I see, with mainstream, it's like, what is money? And now more than ever, they're talking about the fiat currency, the Fed and central banks printing money out of thin air, and it's virtually nothing. And we're doing this big reset now, transferring over into cryptocurrency. So I see it as, an education piece. What is money? What was money? What is money going to be in the future? What does credit look like in the future? And now I see, like, right now is the time for our community, the underbanked, the underserved, the ignored, to really, really play catch up. And if we're able to educate our people, inform our people, give them, catch them ahead of this curve that's happening, next 10 years, get on board.
Absolutely.
So are we resetting with, I know, you kind of lead me into the crypto side of things. Is that part of that reset that you think?
Absolutely. It's still a gray area that's being, regulated right now. But like Elon Musk, MasterCard, everyone's getting into the cryptocurrency space. It's going to be regulated. Government will regulate it. So I think right now, we have a brother on the team who's really heavy into crypto. And, we have access to guys who are really miners on the blockchain and mining coins. So all of this stuff, especially in the minority space, we need to bring these brothers to the table. And that is definitely the future.
Do you think
it's going to benefit everyone's business.
Do you think the regulation, once the government steps in, really just kind of puts a stamp on what you can and cannot do? Do you think that is going to follow, the history of banking and redlining and all those things, and how they put barriers and blocks in our way? Is that possible with crypto? Is that something?
All the time, it's definitely, but we have to extract our young people.
But
We
is that
have
the
to
part of
get them.
crypto is like where it's supposed to be where and I don't know crypto that well.
Well,
but
right
is it supposed to
now,
be where-
right now that space is unregulated, so it is the wild, wild west, and that's why it's so volatile. So you have to bring some sort of regulation into it. But if you're at the table right now, there's certain things you can do to insulate yourself, so you're not left, you're not left in the dust. Period.
Okay, gotcha. So
But let me comment on the crypto thing, because we are also going to be deploying a crypto wallet at Money Avenue. We're working on it. Hopefully that'll be deployed, later, after our official launch. But I feel that there's certain areas of wealth creation. We are living in the wealthiest period in human history known to mankind. Tremendous amount of wealth that are being created on a consistent basis. Silicon Valley, you have people that are launching businesses, and in 2, 3, 4 years, they're becoming billionaires, right?
1,400 millionaires are made every day.
Totally.
Yeah.
So the point that I'm trying to make through this, and we touched on it before, the mentality is if you're looking to build generational wealth, you should be looking to be a millionaire, right? There's no other way. The number that I've always said before, the reason that number is significant because $1 million today will not be worth $1 million tomorrow.
Right.
The wealthy people understand that if you put $1 million into, not even $1 million, let's say $100,000, put it into a bank account and keep it there for 5 years, you've in effect lost money. The dollar is going to buy less products tomorrow, right? So that's why being a millionaire is the lowest possible level of the bar, and it goes back into cryptocurrency, and why cryptocurrency is so important and why Bitcoin is shooting up the way it is because our dollar is being devalued and there's only 21 million Bitcoin that could possibly be in existence. So the laws of supply and demand say that if you have a limited number of supply, the value is going to go up, right? It's a hedge against inflation. It's another way in which we're going to be able to deliver higher returns to our investors in a savings account. Like if you have money, why not park it into an asset that is a hedge against inflation? So there's a whole program that we're going to be unfolding about financial literacy, what to do with $5,000, what to do with $50,000, what to do with $1 million.
So we got
Believe it or not,
steps.
absolutely. Believe it or not, I guess MC Hammer said this the best. It was like nobody wrote a book on what to do when I made $36 million in 1 year, right? Straight up. So he lost that money, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we want to do is provide a pathway for whatever level you're on. A pathway to build wealth.
How?
Right?
How?
The way that our bank is, and this is the skyscraper to generational wealth. We talk about the 6 levels, right? The 6 levels. Level number 1 is being a thousandaire, right? Everyone should at least the amount of wealth that exists in this country. Everyone should at least be able to make $100,000 a year, right? So the thousandaire level is just that. Everyone making at least $100,000 a year. The next level, level 2, is living the rent-free lifestyle. Basically, what we mean by the rent-free lifestyle is you basically you purchase an income-producing asset, live in one side, rent out the other, right? That is a pathway where you don't have to worry about being homeless. It's a pathway to constantly have income coming in, right? Level 3, we want you to bring your personal credit score to 720, lock it, live exclusively through an LLC, live exclusively through your business. The reason why is because that's one of the prime ways you can build wealth and save on taxes, living exclusively through your business, right? At Money Avenue, we give every LLC at least $50,000 of guaranteed business credit that we want them to use that money to prove the concept of their business, right? That's level 3. And then level 4, the idea is through your business, once you've proven the concept, once you have 2 years tax returns, once you have some revenue and other things around your credit, you leverage that to get at least $1 million in debt. When we say $1 million in debt, it's about producing income, buying income producing assets, apartments, other businesses. Income producing assets, get $1 million in debt. Then level 5, the debt that you created in level 4, that debt turns into equity, valuations, And that's how we create millionaires. And that's how you get to the level of the 1.4 million where you can pass wealth on. And that's the level 6 is about passing wealth on. Can't talk about generational wealth without talking about life insurance and setting up things like a trust or could be a blind trust, irrevocable trust. But the whole idea at that level is the wealth that you created in those first 5 levels passed on to your heirs and your children and give them a head start in life so that they can.
That life insurance piece, where Black community has the least amount of life insurance policies out there, right?
Right.
Like it's the easiest thing. Like we all know it. You know, we're gonna die at one point. It's guaranteed. Right?
Exactly.
It's like the easiest way to pass off money. What's up with that? Why are we not doing this?
Lack of education.
Is it?
It comes from, when you really think about it, the values that your family produce, right? So if my family is into generational wealth and we believe in creating real estate, starting businesses, that culture, that behavior, that attitude, that mindset is a part of my household. And that's what the kids see. When you get up, my son right now is following the same steps that me and my wife laid out for him. We set him up with credit. We set him up understanding the importance of paying down mortgages. And that's what we've learned. And I had to pull to make that happen. But to answer your question is what the exposure is. And it starts in the home. So when they're in a home that just spends money or they're struggling every day and they don't find a way to be able to bring additional money and they work in 2 jobs, if I don't have anything else in the family to look at, I'm thinking 2 jobs is how I make extra money, which is the worst way to make money. Because you already trade in dollars for time, and then you're gonna go get even less money for more time. You'll never get out the rat race of that. So that's duplicatable because that's what you're saying, and it's been taught to us, yo, go get a second job. Right. I remember I went to a seminar and he said, listen, if you go get one job and you start to get the next job, at least let it be for you, the second job, not for nobody else. And I never forgot that. And we do need that. So, but to answer your question, it really comes down to the values in the family and what the family represent on a core level. And what they're mandating, if you notice in some of the biggest, richest families, they have these roundtables. They eat dinner and they're going, hey, where are you at with your business? What's going on with the stock?
On a daily basis.
On a daily basis.
Right.
You know, hey, what's going on? Hey, did you pay that loan back? We gave the company, gave you $20,000. How's things going?
Yeah.
Right. And that becomes the conversation, but that comes from the foundational level. So right now, watch, you know, no knock on no TV show, the love and hip hops of the world and things of that nature. And I'm not knocking nobody's show, but all of that's consuming you. My auntie, I'm standing at my auntie house, real quick, short story. She's like, I'm in this office and I'm wanting to take this TV back. I'm like, auntie, why are you taking the TV back? Because I don't want it to interfere with me watching what I got to do. I said, well, why would it interfere with you? You got a TV downstairs and you got a TV in your bedroom. I said, why don't you just make time for TV time and make time for office time? Just because that's what you're, right? But what was happening is she's an older woman and they've been conditioned to watch TV so much that it's almost like, let me remove the TV. And the TV is for when people come and they can come in and watch it, but it's not for you to be scared of it. But they're so used to watching it, it robs them. So that pattern is what we all used to, consuming, looking at things that doesn't do anything for us, and then we transfer it. One thing they also taught, like I think you mentioned it, one of you guys mentioned it, when you get a business, keep it down, keep it closed. Yeah. The mob will come get it. And that fear is another issue that we have. The fear to step out there, the fear to get bruised up, the fear to lose, and don't understand that risk is actually what develops you, provided you stay committed to the process.
Well, I think, you know, you have to look, a kid like me, I'm the youngest of 7, 5 sisters, 1 brother, right? Born in 1970. The way I grew up is, all I remember, I've been an uncle since I was 5 years old. I remember my second oldest sister had her first child at 14 years old, my nephew David. So all I remember growing up was babies, Pampers, and not to knock my brothers and sisters, but out of 5 sisters and 1 brother, everyone had children before they graduated high school. No one went to college. My mother was a single parent. She was a crossing guard, made $250 bi-weekly, raising 7 kids on welfare. Financial literacy, education, college graduates, it was nowhere near my house. This is the way I grew up.
Right.
And next thing you know, my sisters and brother popping out kids, uneducated,
Right.
poor. So this is the cycle that I grew up in. And by the grace
Right.
on my block, and I hung out with those guys.
Mhm.
And then eventually I met KG, he came from a strong family, and we decided to stick together, hustle jobs together, pursue college together, and then we started our business. So our business was who wants to be in the music industry or the music business,
Right.
no matter what you do, whether it's a lemonade stand or your first music group, you're literally starting a business.
Right.
It's not formalized, but you're starting a business.
Right.
And now that I look back, I didn't realize what I was doing. But coming up, we never had these brothers, people in credit, people in mortgage, people in housing,
Right.
Homeowners, entrepreneurship. We never had that. We literally learned this off the cuff, off the fly, selling drugs in the streets.
Right.
And we just never had this. So now I think my presence in this circle is to represent the disenfranchised,
Right.
to represent the generational uneducated guys.
Right.
And there's a lot of us out there.
And America says, man, like, the information, why don't you do this? How talk a little bit about how much harder it is when we were talking about this earlier about when we don't have the male figure in the home to say, hey, this is right, this is wrong. This is how you operate in this type of arena. This is how you speak to women. This is how you like that big piece that is a part of us that is growing as men. We can't act like that just in day to day. How's that transitioning over into business?
I think personally as men, it's a lot of times people come together and we're not sharing information in terms of everybody can't be king. You know what I'm saying? Like it can only be one. Like you have to be a good follower to be a good leader. You know what I'm saying? And at some point in time, it's like there's certain skills, traits, character, things you need to learn as the journey continues that allows you to be a great leader.
Right.
And I think in our community, I know women in particular, women as well as men in our community hold things close to the vest. I was at a dinner this week where we're with a bunch of friends that have known each other for at least 6-7 years, right? And one lady was like, I do catering. I had a catering business, right? Other lady was like, I didn't need friends for a number of years. Didn't even know they had this business that they, it's a mutually beneficial situation where they can help each other, and it's just, we don't do enough of that.
Right.
We don't do, especially as men, we don't do enough of showing, showing some vulnerability as well, saying, I need help.
Right.
Like, I can't do this by myself.
Right.
Like, I don't have all the tools you know what I'm saying?
Right.
To jump on and let's do this together, and with integrity and honesty and,
And I think some of that goes into what we talked about yesterday. We don't share that with each other because sometimes we dim our light.
Right.
Because we don't want to shine each other and be like, okay, I'm successful or Don is successful. So you don't want your fellas to feel like I made it and y'all still there.
Right.
So I think some of it is conditioning, just how we grew up from a cultural standpoint. Even going back to your question about life insurance, think about it. In a Black community, we don't like to talk about death.
Right.
Like if you really think about that, that's like taboo.
Don't say
Money is taboo.
trying to kill grandma off.
Right.
Get somebody trying to kill grandma off.
Yeah, it's like not knowing that other communities,
Right.
they come together and say, okay, who's the oldest in the family? Boom, let's put a life insurance policy on them for $3-4 million, and we gonna all chip in, pay it, and then if something happened to Big Mama, we can use that to go and start a business. But we don't think that way. And I remember a story where, my father had got a life insurance policy for his parents, just enough to bury them. Right? His brothers and sisters took offense to that. Thought he was trying to make money off of them.
Wow.
So I think some of it is cultural that we don't have those dialogues to understand that that's how wealth is created. The top two ways wealth is passed down is through real estate and life insurance.
Right.
And we're dead last in both of those.
And that's what makes Money Ave such a valuable business and for customers and for people to be affiliated, because it's not just a bank where money is moving in and out. There's actually an education to talk about these things that's very important in the building blocks as Don just laid out. So everybody wants you to be very clear that this is not just another bank because we say we want to be in banking. It's coming from a place that we understand what those needs are for you to actually build wealth.
Yeah.
These are blocks. Now, obviously everybody's situation is different, so the strategy will be different. But at least there's individuals that's behind the bank on the leadership side that understands and comes from all different aspects. And we're confident, and that's why we're doing is that we can be of aid to you and assistance to you as you pursue your wealth goals.
This is definitely different when you're trying to start a business and your lights ain't on, right?
Right.
And you're hungry, and you're gonna look at it completely different. You're gonna attack that completely different.
Right.
And we were talking about it about the water boys, right? So
Tell them what the water boys are.
So the water boys. So I live in Atlanta. We both live in Atlanta, and right there in Lenox Mall, right for Lenox Mall. You pull up there, man, and it's like 14, 15 of them running on your car. Like, you gonna get this water. Right? You gonna buy this water, right? And so that hustle is there.
Sure.
Right? Like we know we got the hustle to go out to. Just lacking that thing, man, that just takes us to the next level, man. And like talking about life insurance, if we can get them to sell life insurance like they sell water, everybody that came through it,
right.
Life insurance, right? Everybody got life insurance.
Absolutely.
So we just gotta bridge that gap, man. Like it's just mind-boggling to me that with all the stuff with Instagram, with social media, they can see it, right? So you can hashtag, real estate investor, you can hashtag entrepreneur, you can hashtag, or you can hashtag, and no knock against them, you can hashtag some ratchet stuff as well. Right. But so I want to go past just the education, but the implementation. How do we get people to implement? How do we get people to put action?
I think people just got to understand the importance of self-improvement. It starts there. We said education, but you really have to, and Don said something was key. Everybody's echoing the same thing. It really is self-development. In that journey of self-development, you start understanding what those principles are to be successful. It's not even business first. It's where you need to be on an individual character level, where you need to be on a spiritual level. You have to work on that. And that's a daily challenge. Even for us now, we still deal with fear. We still deal with doubts and things like that as humans. But we so conditioned, it's like a guy in the army. It don't matter, we're gonna respond because we've already been conditioned to fight. They gotta get to the condition aspect. You can't go out in this world and think you're gonna make it without no conditioning. And you gotta have it. So you talk about all the time, the psychology. Everybody's talking about that. So I think the starting point is the first book I read, it was 2 books that changed my life. It's actually 3. Think and Grow Rich by Dennis Kimbro, a Black choice. The reason why that book was so powerful, because it highlighted African Americans actually won, combined it with Napoleon Hill's principles. It makes sense to me. I couldn't, Think and Grow Rich, the original one, still a great book, had the principles, but it wasn't written for us. I didn't believe that. So when I read Dennis Kimbro, I'm like, this makes sense. The second book with the magazine was Black Enterprise. And the reason why Black Enterprise was so important, because it highlighted individuals that own banks. It highlighted high-end executives. It wasn't just mom and pop businesses, which we see all the time. And I think the third one was obviously Rich Dad Poor Dad. We all are a fan of that. And I didn't even read the first one. I wrote the guide to invest in. And what that did, it broke down asset versus liabilities like you never heard it before. And I think I was like, okay, I'm out. And I went and broke my first joint, and I never looked back. So I think that, but it started from the conditioning that lost my father spiritually, and I'm taking care of my sister at 20-something years old on welfare, just struggling. And I'm saying it has to be another way, but I can't go back that way. And I started the mindset shift that you talked about. It's very important. Got to understand on a basic level.
And I think even to the point when you said, what's the disconnect?
Yeah.
I think
right.
If I started a business, I might not make no money for 6 months.
Right.
And I often share my story. I made no money for 6 years.
Right.
But I knew what the end goal was, because during those 6 years, I was sharpening my axe.
Right.
And that's, I think, where the disconnect, why people can't go sell that life insurance versus going to go sell that water or that pack or whatever it is.
Right. Oh, well, yes.
I think another thing is a lot of our people are good business people, or they're good at making money, generating money. what I see, especially in the entertainment industry, from bartenders to dancers to DJs, etc., they want to keep their money off the grid. They want to stuff the money in their mattresses.
Right.
And what they're doing is really cheating themselves, because if they put at least a portion of the money on the grid, they can build credit. They can build business credit. You know, they could be awarded or rewarded for generating that money. So I think like there are a lot of people in my space and in my world that I'm excited to bring on to the Money App team and to open accounts and let me show you how you'll benefit from just putting your money on the grid and getting rewarded for your hard work.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too that I think is easy for people to understand where they at, how to use your money effectively, right? How to take $500 and turn that, like you can take $500 with the, even in the crypto space,
Yeah.
and put that to work. I've been big on going in there, like to the point where we're looking, like I can't wait till our digital wallet comes out so I can unleash Van with the whole crypto stuff. But there's a way in which you can invest and live off just the interest off of your investment. Real estate has been the way that I've been able to basically build wealth, right? And it's allowed me to not only build wealth for myself, but I've been able to pass it on generationally through trust and other things like that. But the key is, and without getting to the stock market, the whole stock market thing, the reason why, like I've tried the stock market, but the reason why I'm not big on stocks per se, even though I think it's a key asset class to work with, is the stock market is a casino. And when you're looking to become a millionaire, it becomes a point where it's like very few people actually get there through the stock market. What happens is they make $1 million and more, and then they invest their money. They basically preserve their wealth, right? And then the stock market comes, you can park it in Tesla, park it in Apple, these park it in Google. It's over time that money is gonna increase. But it's very, very hard, right? Very hard to say, all right, I'm the most knowledgeable stock guy in the world. Let me, try to become a millionaire by playing the casino stock market.
Yeah.
It's just not a profitable business model, and a lot of people are out, putting that to move. I'm not against getting knowledge on the stock market, but the mentality that I'm seeing people have is I can be a multimillionaire because I did a little research and and I'm gonna take my couple thousand, put it in the stock market, and 2-3 years later, if I know what a candlestick, whatever it is, and they think it don't work.
That's important, because I mean, we were listening to that podcast, that fintech podcast, right? That name of it. But
the only fintech podcast.
It's only one out there, right? They gave that statistic that by 2053, they're saying the wealth gap is obviously going to keep growing, right? But it's going to grow to the point where the average Black family's net worth will be $0, right? And I just heard, I was looking at some stuff yesterday. The World WEF, the World Economic Foundation, the president of there. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically, the CEOs of all the major companies, the most powerful people out there, the ones that own the banks, the families that own, that run the countries behind the, those people, right? They get together every year and they talk about, right? And they're talking about this great reset. I hope you guys heard about this great reset. 2030, they're expecting the president said out of his own mouth, the president of the WEF said that 2030, people will own nothing and they'll be happy.
Yeah, happy. Yeah, it is. I've heard that. Yeah.
So think about that. So and we're there's this big.
But owning and controlling is one thing, but ownership can come from putting it in the LLC, and I think that's really where ownership is taking place, right? If you look at the wealthy, the whole thing is that the wealthy, they don't really have anything in their personal names. It's really, they control a lot of assets through an LLC or through a corporation. And that's why it's important. We talked about, Donald Trump, basically, him having 500 LLCs. He owns really everything through those LLCs, and he's able to manipulate the full protection of the LLC, right? The other thing I think is also real is that we deal so much with the day-to-day, just going back and forth, whatever struggles that we have. But what's going on in the world right now, particularly in this country, if you're in America, is there's rapid development in technology. Every 6 months is like an equivalent of 2 years in technology. So what's happening now is we're getting to this point in time where the developments and the breakthroughs are coming so quick that if we're not attuned or we're not, the wealth gap is going to be over here, and the people that have it, they're going to be the ones controlling our laws because they have the money. They can write the legislation. They're going to be the ones determining what schools we go to. They're going to be the ones determining what type of jobs we have. If we have
what kind of education you get.
They're going to control everything. That's why it's so important that we get our young people to get tapped in to technology.
That's what they're talking about, this WF thing, this totalitarian type of dictatorship where they own everything and you're renting from the government. You rent everything, like your clothing, you rent your cars, you rent your homes.
As soon as they figure out, like Bitcoin is taking off right now.
But they're also going to own the right. That's what we're talking about. They're going to regulate it, right? So what do ownership? I know what we were saying. We're talking about ownership. Something as simple as Tim, like as home ownership. How can we influence, our community just to take that step?
Well, here's something. Without naming names, but just in my circle, average persons in those families, 7 people per family, 21 different people. 3 families, 21 people. 21 people are paying separate rents. And their families. And they hang out together every day. And they chum up with each other every day. But you can't get these 3 groups of 7 people to pool the money together, own one property, bust down that mortgage, and virtually live for half the rent or even a third of the rent.
I think also just to add to one of the biggest problems, and I see that you kind of trying to get to where the problem, and I would say that there's no single answer. It's a combination of problems. And when you have a combination, you got to unstack all of that. But one of the problems is we do not have or don't understand the power of patience. And when they don't have patience, it goes back. I need that money right now because I'm in survival mode. So if I'm in survival mode, I can't get to thriving. I can't get to this thought process because I'm surviving. And people don't know how to convert that mindset. How do you actually feel confident about the future when you're in a crisis mode for whatever reason? That's a real problem for people. They can't even receive what we're saying because sometimes of the state of mind that they're in. And the other part, just to go back to what you're saying, outside of me not trusting, I don't have no patience. So if I don't trust and I don't have no patience, I'm at ground zero because I can't even have the ability to sit down and work with you because I don't trust me and I don't trust you. So if I don't trust me and don't trust you and I ain't got no patience, this person actually really got a setback. So part of it is understanding, and let me just say this real quick. Don, you talk about freedom, right? You talked about we need to show it. We all saying it. It's not the plain that we're free. It's not the popping bottles to show that we're free, because all that is symbols of success. It's about really being with your kids and being with your family and doing the things that matter on a philanthropy level and the community without it impacting your personal life. That's freedom. So you're able to do the things you desire, do the things that you want to do your purpose, and you're not set back or spending a lot of time doing things that matter, and your bills are still being paid. And that goes back to that real estate, how to create that real estate that gives you that passive income to be free. And the more demonstration I believe that we can show that, not even from a talk standpoint, not even from just a concept standpoint, but really showing free, I'm interested if you show me your freedom. Because everybody want to be free.
And that's why what I think that we really should focus on is a teenage billionaire, right? A billionaire that basically is idealistic, has an idea, and because of their background, because they're father or mother was a coder, was able to write some code,
right.
create it overnight. We just saw, I forget the lady, the white lady that
Bumble.
went Bumble. She took a joint, she's worth $2 billion over, she started that. Yeah, over dating that. She started that 3 years ago.
Wow.
So,
by the way.
but just look at what's happening. We're in 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a billionaire just being created. She just became a billionaire, right? Just in February.
Just like that.
We had the black founders, the dude Callady, the black guy that came up, he basically got $1 billion valuation. We had the brothers from the ATL that did the barbershop app.
Right.
They raised $350 million
Wow.
by just creating an app that schedules appointments.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's going to desperately be needed. Black tech, black entrepreneurs. I just saw Google. There's a female artificial intelligence engineer who stepped down because of their racism and boxing out. 2 other lead engineers who were minorities followed her in protest. There's a reason why they don't want us at the table.
Right.
And the tech plays the biggest play.
Sure.
So it's more than just being the end user to this technology. We have to be the ones developing it. And if they're trying to box you out at a simple education level, you're gonna have those problems. So I think, going back to what you said, we have a big task in front of us because the biggest thing that our people out here are gonna have is trust.
Right.
Trust. So the people out here, you're gonna have to trust our effort.
Sure.
You're gonna have to trust what we're trying to do here. Trust what we're trying to share. Trust what we're trying to bring to the table. And I think if we're able to establish that kind of trust, then people will have the patience to hear everyone out.
Right.
Hear everyone out, understand these skill sets, and then you really have something. But without trust, you got a task ahead.
Definitely got a tough task ahead. But I just want to kind of, once we even have the success, because we know it's coming. We know that in our communities, we have a tremendous amount of talent, right? The next step is to use the wealth to change things, to make it so uncomfortable for racism and all the other ills of society, right? It's what the Koch brothers have been doing. They've been using their wealth to put and promote racism in effect, right? That's really what it is. But there has to be it's everything. Life is balance. It's the yin and the yang. So we need our billionaires that are really social activists that can change. Because we have to use it. If you don't have money in this country that we live in, nobody's paying any attention to you. So we have to understand that, look, we have the agreements here, right? We got the $1.2 trillion. We know that. We know that number that comes into our community every single year. We've got to be able, it doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be you, but if we can play a part in creating those entrepreneurs, and then also letting them, once they reach the levels of success, the millionaires, the billionaire level, using their voice, their platform, using their desire to change the world, if we just change this little corner of the globe, our impact will be felt generations to generation. So that's really what my passion to do is to help identify, even through the bank, identify up-and-coming entrepreneurs and people that have businesses that we can help them get from seed money all the way to Series A and put them on a path to really, get some of that wealth.
And we do that by being hands-on in our community. I mean, since meeting Don and Will, I brought them into my city of East Orange, right? Just being hands-on with our mayor, Mayor Ted Green, working with Ras Baraka, the mayor of Irvington, Orange. There's a 4-city coalition there. Tony Boss, Darren Warren. So there's a 4-city coalition there of underserved community people. So bringing a platform like this to the table, to our communities, when we have a coalition of 4 Black mayors, we have the blue and we have a blank, really like a blank check as far as a community to really implement and put what we're trying to do in place. So I think that's very important because you have access not only to the people, but you have access to the government who can help assist in doing what we're attempting. So I think that access to politics, access to the government will really help us accomplish what's going on.
Vin is great. You know, he sold millions and millions of records all over, but yeah, he's still engaged in this community to the point where, you've, going through different mayors, like you've been active in getting mayors elected, being part of their campaign, and the mayors, they give back to him as well. He's putting the work in. He's been, it's not something that he just said, oh, do it. He's been doing it for decades, right? Back from the 90s, they've been doing things. So he has built up this community equity, and now he's utilizing it and channeling it in the right way. And I just want to commend you for it, because people don't have to do that. People can just take that money and run and, jump on.
But then again, listen, we have to do that. We have no choice. Where the hell am I going with $1 billion? And now I go to a community and I got a cross burning on my lawn.
Right.
Where are you going?
I think that's an important distinction.
Culturally, where the hell am I going when my hometown is what made me? It gave me my drive. It gave me everything. Everyone who's around me and supported us and propped us up from that first talent show. You know what I'm saying? And we see the social ills, and even being a street kid, realizing how we help serve drugs to mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles. And that's what they did. They lost their homes in our community.
Right.
We come from communities where those 100-year-old homes here, the bones on those things are great. They don't build homes like that anymore. But we help tear down those communities just unconsciously. So it's only the table and say, hey, let's try to fix this. Let's try to right these wrongs. And I understand geographically where we are right now. At Newark International Airport, I travel all over the world. I could be in Australia, but when I land, I'm in Newark, 15-minute Uber ride, I'm in my living room in East Orange. That real estate, geographically, priceless. So I think that, with hip hop, working with government, working with finance, working with education, we could really, really take advantage of this global reset that's going on. And really, really, as they say, you're not going to own anything and you're going to be happy. But we have to get in front of those conversations, and we have to counter it and get in where we fit in. And it's just a matter of priority now. It's a matter of, I know I'm 50 years old. I find myself being the oldest guy at the table these days. I look at a lot of my guys and like, look, we're all the same age.
We got a window.
And what I'm saying is that, us coming up, we've done it all. We partied, we flossed, we've done all of that. Now it's time to rechannel, reprogram our energy. And if we keep putting our energy in this space, you train people, you culturally get people to just say, hey, there's a new wave now. We have to mature. I think in hip hop, and now all of this is hip hop, we all come up from the hip hop culture. Hip hop has to mature. Hip hop has to prioritize what we deem is hot. Because this is what's hot. Generational wealth, understanding money, what money is, being informed and educated. And again, once we crack that door, we flip it. And we bring everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think Vin said something that's important when you're like, how do we bridge that gap? We got to make this hot. That's really what it is. When I got into the credit space, because I got tired of not seeing somebody that looked like me. So I couldn't identify with it. So instead of complaining about the problem, I'll create a solution. Well, I'll be the one, I'll go out here. And so I've been able to really just, over the past 5 years, I'm going into the communities and I'm, wearing sneakers and a t-shirt. I'm not in a suit being all stuffy, so it makes it more relatable. So now we've made credit cool. We've made real estate sexy. We've made business credit. And so now we just identify that and talk about the life insurance and talking about all these different things. that we make cool, because hip hop created everything to be cool.
Right.
You know, so I think we just figure out how to bridge that gap and making it fly again.
I just want to real quick. Who said that statement?
What's that?
That we were home zero.
The president of the WF.
Yeah, World Economic
Yeah, I
Forum.
don't feel like I want y'all to think about that statement. Who the F is you to say that? Let's think about that.
So
I-
ain't going down and down
That's
every day.
but that
This is
it's
facts.
happening.
It's the reset.
Look,
It's
there's
the reset.
40% unemployment through COVID. Like the rest of the when they put those statistics out and
Right.
they say, well, it's 40% unemployment in the U.S. That's the general population. The Black community is always double that. So imagine what that is looking like really during this time. Like if you own property in the Black community, I'm sure if you're not getting Section 8 money, I'm sure you heard it right.
Right.
Sure you heard it.
But just the statement is saying you will be happy saying two
But
things.
you understand who he's saying it to. He's not in front of the
I understand,
masses.
I
He's saying it
understand.
amongst his peers
I got you.
around the round table. That's what he's talking to. Right?
So when you look at it, Reef, I mean, the average homeowner. You know what I'm saying? So you take COVID,
Right.
and now you take, hey, this is the World Economic Forum. These
Mhm.
are people that elite
Mhm.
1%
Mhm.
who's literally running the world.
Mhm.
One pandemic could shut everything down, and if you're a business owner hanging on by a thread, if you're a homeowner hanging on by a thread, even if you own a 3-family home hanging by a thread, one pandemic with government mandates of shutting down your business, that coffee shop, that restaurant, that everything, that stress of carrying a business and carrying home ownership,
Right.
that stress is such that when they shut everything down, and now what are you begging for? Stimulus. And now what are they talking about? Guaranteed universal income. So it's great big welfare system. And now most people be like, well, how many people are begging for that stimulus check?
Mhm.
Chasing.
Now, you know what? Hey, if I could fall back and I don't have the stress of carrying a mortgage and running a business, and then they give me guaranteed housing and a social check, and I could just chill. Now I don't own anything, and I'm happy.
Bill Gates,
doing it.
Bill Gates, the largest farm owner.
Right.
He's going after
Right.
farmland. I
Right.
just
That's the
posted a
food supply.
video. I just posted a video that he's showing what you're doing. He's invested in meats. There's a protein that's coming from I forget, and they're rolling it out. All it is just manufactured food, because he's the one saying we're going to reduce America's carbon footprint, well, the global carbon footprint, and you won't even be, hey, there's a lot of vegans out there, but it won't even be an option if you wanted a steak. It's going to be manufactured food, manufactured steak, manufactured protein. So this is where we're going with this thing. And this reset that they're talking about, it's very, very real. Very
Even
real.
to Ben's point, during the pandemic, when everybody was waiting on the stimulus money, I knew people who were quitting their jobs because they can get more money on unemployment.
Oh, yeah.
Like really think about that.
People are doing it and choosing not to go back to
Yeah,
work.
it just made more sense.
And
Just
then
get their check.
they can go under the moratorium, so I don't have to pay rent.
Right.
The banks let you furlough your payments on your credit card, your auto loans.
Right.
So it's like they're creating this system
Sure.
for people to be codependent, so we own nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been a play, probably they hadn't played 20 years prior to that
So-
meeting.
So, man, as we start to wrap this thing up, man, we could talk probably for the next 3 hours, man.
3 days.
But I mean, this is the heart and soul. Like this is because we see these things. We, before, when I was, in the military, all we talked about was military stuff, right? And so that was your circle, right?
Sure.
That's all you knew. That's all you talked about was this maneuver, that maneuver, right? In the business world, if we're not exposed, right? If people aren't exposed to this, then they don't get to have these conversations. And that's the whole point of this whole conversation is that if you're not, right, if you're watching this and you're not in that entrepreneurial circle, if you're not in that business circle, at least you could watch this now and you can talk with leaders of industries right here,
Right.
And get that behind the scenes. So, man, I think this thing was definitely informative, man. It was definitely a good talk. We need to do this a little bit more often for sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you want to leave this out there, brother?
Yeah, no doubt. I just want to personally say thank you guys for tuning in. unfortunately, we can't see comments, so it's just rolling. So I know that there's some comments up there. We're not ignoring you. It's just what it is. But if we can leave you with one word, work on improving your financial literacy. We all, no matter what level of the game you're on, we all can use a way to improve our financial literacy. And once you do that, you can make better financial decisions, keep more money in your pocket. Join our movement. Go to bankmoneyapp.com. Bankmoneyapp.com. You can sign up. We're launching next month, so we're really excited about that. We have some incredible products coming down the pipe that is going to help you to build wealth. It's going to help you to really do a lot of things. Like our educational, we got an educational curriculum. You just got to just definitely sign up, and you'll get notifications. And one last thought also is, when you join the family, it's a movement. We're looking for talent. We're looking for micro influencers, people that if you want to have a partnership with Money Avenue, we need your efforts and your energy to get our message out. We're not asking for anything. We're giving you a lot of the stuff that we have. We're giving away.
Right.
We're giving away. So we're not asking you to put money here and do this and do that. We're asking you to be a part of this movement, to just share the knowledge that is going to come down the pipe. Because we firmly believe everyone that you see on here is invested. Everybody at this table right now is balling on a level that you don't even understand. Like, we're not on airplanes. That's not what we are. Right. What we are is of the people and building for the people. Sure. So the only way that gets out is that we take all of this, all the time that we're donating, and you guys take that information, share it, tag a friend, help your children. If you have kids, teach them about financial literacy as soon as you can. As soon as you can, get them in the process. That's how we're going to break the chain. That's how we're going to make an impact on our community. So on that note, I'm taking you guys out. We had a long day. We're going to get some meat.
Yes, sir. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. Everybody.
Stuff.
Sure will. Oh yeah. COVID fit.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, cool. What's going on, everybody? Good people. Hope all is well to you as Mark. Mark, what's going on? Checking in. Thank you for allowing us to ask the story. Awesome, man. Appreciate you, Vasco Brown. Yeah, man, definitely like being a fly on the wall for sure. We just want to, give you the behind the scenes, and like, this is literally the type of stuff that we talk about all the time. So, how can we successful entrepreneurs be free if we're figuring out how to make that paycheck? That's what makes it tough, right? That's what makes it difficult for us to get ahead, is because we're still trying to catch up. They asking us, how can you get ahead? We're trying to catch up. Yeah, no doubt. That's Mac Investments. Thanks for tuning in. Cornelius, what's up? Very informative. Awesome. Yes, definitely. We definitely have a conversation, Cornelius, sure. And Major Payne, what's going on? How you doing? Across the last 2 minutes. Sean, you missed it, man. What's going on? Yeah, man. We're gonna replay it and put it on here in a minute. So we're good. Yeah, have a blessed one, man. Take care. Peace.